As you can see from the background, the man cave is not a tidy place. A lot of YouTubers have very tidy backgrounds. They try to zhuzh it up a bit. But for me, this is what it is. The man cave is ramshackle and fun. And it's going to stay that way. I'm not going to be turning it into anything slick with lots of LEDs in the background, though I do have some LEDs. It's going to be what it is. So anyway, let's get on with the video. This part's hard. Don't worry, it's going to get upbeat a little bit more soon, but this part's hard. We've cancelled Christmas. Our Christmas was going to be in Sydney with the family. We were going to drive up there. We were going to have a good time. We were going to eat lots of food and drink lots of various liquids and just hang with the people we love most. But it didn't happen like that because there was an outbreak of COVID-19 in Sydney. There are some lockdowns. It would have been slightly difficult to get back into the state of Victoria had we gone up there, and there was also the possibility that they would lock down the border and we'd be stuck in New South Wales. The cats are down here, the house is down here, everything we've got's down here, and for an indefinite period of time. So we made the really, really hard decision to stay put and not hang out with the family. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit racked about that. In fact, I'm a lot racked about it. And I'm not alone there. There's a lot of us doing it hard this time around. There's a lot of us who can't be with the people we love. And this one's for you. This is for the people who can't be with the people they love because of this horrible pandemic. And let's get on with the good stuff. So far this year I've watched 215 movies, which is a lot, but on the other hand it keeps me off the streets, and I was in lockdown for over 100 days. So I've decided that what I'm going to do is a list of 4 feel-good movies I saw for the first time in 2020. The ones that kind of reassured me, that took care of me, the ones that surprised me and delighted me, and were very upbeat and not dark and grim. The ones that are, in a sense, a mood elevator for us all. So yeah, you might know most of them, but I thought I'd put it together into a video because I really want to share this stuff and share the way they made me feel as well. That's important in this time and place. And movies that are fun and lovely and joyous really are needed by us right now. So the first movie is Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, starring Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. It's the best movie Will Ferrell's done in more than a decade. It was directed by David Dobkin. It's about a kind of hapless guy from Husavik who has a dream all his life to go to Eurovision, and his kind of wannabe girlfriend, played by Rachel McAdams, is the other member of his band. And through a whole bunch of very unusual and very, very funny circumstances, they go to Eurovision, they meet the other contestants, and they kind of find their best selves. Now, this is an ultimate feel-good movie for lockdown. It's got a whole bunch of things going for it. It's got beautiful locations in picturesque areas. It's got Pierce Brosnan. It's got some music that doesn't make my ears bleed the way most Eurovision music does. And it's a lot of fun. It's on Netflix at the moment, and hopefully at some stage it'll get a physical media release. Hint, hint, Netflix. And yeah, it just kind of works. It's lovely, it's fun. It's got a couple of twists and turns. It's got some really great punchline jokes, particularly involving the little people living in the hill. And you really should check this one out. It's a great time, and particularly for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere who were foolish enough to have the holiday season in winter, which from my point of view is just bloody ludicrous. Yeah, you ought to check that one out. And if you've seen it before, apparently it's rewatchable. Haven't done it myself, but I'm willing to bet that it is. So definitely check out Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, because it will make you feel good. Actually, I'm wrong. I've got more than 4, so buckle up. Second one I'm going to do, let's pick at random from the list. Enola Holmes. Now, a lot of people didn't like Enola Holmes, the story of Sherlock Holmes' long lost and unrecorded younger sister, based on the novels by Nancy Springer, which are really readable. I've started reading the first one of them, and the novels are a lot of fun. It stars Millie Bobby Brown as the titular character. It has Henry Cavill playing Sherlock Holmes, and also Sam Claflin playing his brother Mycroft before Mycroft becomes portly. And it is, it has a little bit of the feel like young Sherlock Holmes in a sense, but with very much a feminist viewpoint, and that does not damage it at all. It's got a useless looking young lord who is foppish but kind of becomes his best self as well. It's beautifully shot, the locations are great, the use of computer generated backgrounds is done extremely well, and it doesn't tend to shy away from some of the horrible bits that were part of life in late 19th century England. Horrible bits, I should find a better way to phrase that. Horrible social circumstances. So if you haven't seen Enola Holmes, give it a go. It's worth checking out. It's maybe not as great as you'd want it to be, but I'd hope there'd be a sequel, because there are a number of the novels and they do range widely in where they go and how they carry the characters through them. So yeah, check that one out if you haven't, but it's a pretty good recommend from me. And Millie Bobby Brown's an interesting young actress, and it'll be interesting to see what she does with her career over the next decades. So on to number 3. I've blown out too many birthday candles to being part of the generation that watched Dora the Explorer on television, but the live action Dora the Explorer movie, Dora and the Lost City of Gold, is worth checking out. It's a lot of fun. It was filmed here in Australia, in Queensland, and also in Peru, and it just rocks as a jungle adventure, lost civilization romp. It does have a lot of silliness about it. It's got Temuera Morrison playing the main bad guy, and I like Temuera Morrison even before he started working for Lucasfilms, and he's a lot of fun in it. And the main characters as well, played by Isabella Mona. Dora is an enthusiastic, intelligent, knowledgeable, and totally fearless protagonist in this. We also get people like Michael Pena and Eva Longoria and Eugenio Derbez. It's got a really good supporting cast. Her and her friends get lost in the jungle and have to find her parents, who have gone in search of a lost civilization, as you do. And it's twisty and turny, it's crazy, it's just transgressive enough to be interesting, and it works. It was from 2019, so it isn't brand new, but it's almost new. I think it's on Amazon Prime at the moment. It was one of those late night views for me when I was scrolling through the menus, and I just thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, and I watched 5 minutes of it and got sucked in and watched the whole damn thing. It was enjoyable as hell and very uplifting, and I'm a sucker for lost civilization narratives. And the interesting thing too, for those of us who are movie buffs, the old lady that Dora and her friends meet in the forest, and who is a part secretly, and this is a slight spoiler, but who gives a fuck, who's involved with the lost civilization, she's played by Isela Vega, who was Warren Oates' girlfriend in Sam Peckinpah's Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, which I kind of recognised the name in the credits and then went back and went, wow, that was her. Yes, of course, she's much older, but having that connection to classic cinema for me was just one of those little Easter eggs that movie buffs really get and really love when they find them, and just make that movie a little bit better. And that's the lovely thing about knowing a lot about movies. Even a movie which is just supposed to be a kids film and a lot of fun can have a couple of little Easter eggs that make you go wow. And Isela Vega being in the Dora movie was one of those for me. It just cheered me the hell up. Check it out if you haven't. It's worth your time. The next one's a deep cut. It's a Japanese film, and I actually did a whole video about the movie series, which I will put there. It's called Otoko wa Sorayo, and it translates in English to It's Tough Being a Man. It's a Japanese movie series about a guy called Tora-san, who's an itinerant Japanese peddler who comes back to his family after 20 years and tries to help them with their lives. Ultimately, there were about, 40 of these movies made over the whole period between 1979 and the mid-1990s, with all of the same cast. And the guy playing the lead character is an ex-strip club comic from Asakusa, Atsumi Kiyoshi. And he is great. His Tora-san is angry, drunk, lecherous. Well, not really lecherous, but romantic. And basically, he brings chaos to the family, but ultimately order as well. And these were incredibly popular in Japan all the way up until now. In fact, there was a kind of retrospective movie made a couple of years ago called Tora-san, We Love You. Now, it's hard to describe the magic of Tora-san easily to a non-Japanese audience, but I kind of latched into enough of it to really find it a comfort film series. And I've watched 4 of them now, so I've got a lot to go. But he travels to different prefectures of Japan and meets different people. He always falls in love with an unattainable woman, not in a sleazy way, but in a way ultimately that helps her future. It's just sweet, funny, loving family viewing from another culture. Actually, it's not really family viewing because he does get involved with an old Yakuza guy in one of the movies, so it's about family more than family viewing, I suppose. But Otoko wa Surayo is just a real revelation for me. I knew nothing about it before I heard about the first one, and it's well worth checking out. A little hard to find, but you're a cinephile. You can find anything if you look hard enough. And in fact, I found, by deep diving and spending entirely too much money, the soundtrack album, which is kind of cool for me, cost me a lot, and I had to actually get it couriered rather than sent in the mail because Japan wasn't sending mail to Australia at the time I got the CD. And so it ended up costing me even more. I think I paid all up about $70 Australian for this. But for me, it's worth it. I really wanted something solid of Tora-san. There are Tora-san kind of toys and things you can get, but they're very, very expensive. So I settled for the soundtrack album. And it's got the theme song, which is always in the movies, sung by Atsumi Kiyoshi. And every time I just hear the music, even though I don't understand the lyrics, I know what they are because I've seen the translations. But I always get comforted and delighted just hearing the music from that film. It's a deep cut, but for me, it's very, very rewarding. The second last one is an Australian family film, which I did because Rebecca McLaren, with whom I do the ABC radio gig where I talk about movies on Thursday nights, she said, hey, there's a movie based on a novel by a local author. Can we review that? So I actually found the one session at the local cinema which was showing this movie, and it's sweet and delightful. It really does have a lot going for it. It's called H is for Happiness, and it's the story of a young girl called Candice Fee who's 13 and lives in Albany, Western Australia, which is a beautifully photogenic place right at the bottom left-hand corner of Australia. I've been there once, and I hope to go there again. It's a lovely town. It's got beautiful offshore islands. It's a little cold when the wind's blowing, but it really is a lot of fun. Her father in the movie is played by Richard Roxburgh, and she makes a friend of a new kid at school, a kid called Douglas Benson from another dimension, and that in itself is part of the story, why he thinks he's from an alternate universe, and that's kind of sweet as well. It's got Miriam Margolyes playing the school teacher, Miss Bamford, and she's a lot of fun. Miriam Margolyes is English Australian now. Her and her partner, both of them moved to Australia, and she has dual citizenship now, and she's a joy in this one. And Deborah Mailman, another fine Australian actor, plays Douglas's mother in a couple of really nice little scenes. There's a pony that appears and disappears at random, and it's got almost a magic realism about it, but it also talks about growing up, about finding who you are as a child transitioning into teenage years and adulthood. And I was thoroughly delighted by it. I think more people should see it. Here in Australia, it's on Amazon Prime. If you want to get a VPN and pretend you're in Australia, you can watch it, or you can find it elsewhere. I'm not sure whether Amazon overseas is showing it, but it'd be a missed opportunity if they don't, because it is just a little gem of a movie which surprised me at how much I enjoyed it. The final movie is a threequel, a third movie in a series, and of course it's Bill and Ted Face the Music with Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, and this one really works. It is, you think, okay, they're making a sequel 25 years after they made the last one of these movies. In this case, it's probably more closer to 30 years after they made the last one of these movies. It's a cash cow for these people. They're not really committed to it. The script is by the original screenwriters, Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, so it's got that pedigree there. It's got the same stars in it, and it works. And it brings a new generation of the Preston Logan family in as well. The daughters, Thea and Billy, played by Samara Weaving, who is the niece of Hugo Weaving, and Bridget Lundy Payne. They're a lot of fun. They are almost like their fathers, but in a female way. The two groups, the older people and the younger people, travel through time separately. The younger family members get a band together for Bill and Ted to save the universe, while Bill and Ted try to find the music by going forward and meeting their future selves in various alternate realities, which is fun. It's just fun. There are times when the special effects are maybe not as good as you'd expect from a much larger film, but it's joyous, it's fun. The ending and the twist at the ending reveals itself well before that, but it doesn't matter. We're back with familiar characters whom we like, and in a familiar universe. It's a comfort movie in the best possible way, without being condescending, without being kind of greedily nostalgic the way a number of other franchises are. This is a natural continuation to the story, and I want to see more of this kind of stuff. It works, it's fun, it's dumb, it's got unexpected little bits. If you ever wanted to see Louis Armstrong jamming with Jimi Hendrix, this is the movie that you want to see. So yeah, that's my list. That's the feel-good movies that I saw this year. And I'm not going to go out into cliches, dumpster fire, a year like no other, an unprecedented year, all of that bullshit. I'm not going into that. It's a year where things happen. Yeah, of course, it's a kind of a pivot year for human history in a lot of ways. And living through that is never easy. But we did it. We got through. It's almost over now. And I think that what we can hope for is a better year ahead. Whether that happens or not is entirely up to us. It's up to our attitudes. It's up to us being our best selves. It's up to us looking to the future rather than whinging about the past. And we can do it. We've got this. We are extraordinary animals. And we really do have a good reason to make the future much, much better. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That was my little list and a little bit of an update on what's happening with me. I hope the holiday season is kind to you. I hope it's gentle to you. I hope you get some of the things you want and all of the things you need. I hope you watch some good movies. Hope you watch some bad movies. Take care of yourselves. Wear the mask. Do everything you need to protect you and yours. And I'll catch you next time.